Hi Shannon, this is Cara Murphy from My 5-Minute Coach. Thank you for submitting your video. I'm going to go ahead and let it play through for a little bit here and just start giving you some general tips, and then I'll play it again and give you more in-depth commentary. So as I'm watching you ride, I already noted in one of our Facebook posts that I think your horse needs to work on some lateral movement away from your leg to help accept your leg a little bit better. For example, doing some spiral in and spiral out or some leg yielding would be a really good idea. The reason I think that your horse is not accepting your leg is if you watch all the tail swishing going on and the shorter movement and the ears that are pinned back when you put your leg on, these are all pretty good signs that your horse doesn't want to listen to your leg. Okay, see all that tail swishing there. The other thing that I'm noticing is your horse's unwillingness to bend to the right. If you watch as you're riding around here, he always has his head off to the left, as well as he's falling in on his right shoulder. If you watch your body, you're doing the same thing. One of my favorite things to point out to students is that what you do with your body, your horse will generally do himself. So if you are throwing your right shoulder in and your body is turned to the left and your right hip is forward, if you see all those things, your horse is going to do the same thing. So what I want you to think about as you're riding around and thinking about a bend, I want you to pull your right hip back just a little bit. I want you to just ever so slightly pull your right shoulder back as well. I want you to look between your horse's ears as if there's a giant windshield. So Shannon, the next thing I want you to work on is if you watch your posting, you're sitting onto the back of your saddle, you're leaning forward a bit too much, and you are only sitting for just a slight second and then you're popping out of the saddle. That can really contribute to your horse being tight in his back and being unwilling to both loosen his back and accept your leg. So what I want you to do is I want you to really concentrate on sitting down into the saddle. Continue to post. I'm not telling you to do a sitting trot. But as you're posting, each time you sit into the saddle, I want you to think about sitting for just a tick longer and to think about settling into the saddle. Like if you were a bowl of Jell-O, you would, each time you would sit and you would kind of melt into the saddle a little bit, or you would settle into the saddle. Instead of being real tight in your back and popping out of the saddle each and every time you post. Now, we got cut off earlier about, when we were talking about the bending. So back to this right lead canter and the bending, again, it's the bend isn't there in your trot and it's not there in your canter either. If you watch, your horse is, again, head to the outside, leaning in on that inside shoulder. So another way that you can think about fixing this problem is doing a little bit of a spiral out. I want you to open your outside rein. Think about giving your horse a space into which he could move his shoulders. So if your horse's shoulders are to the right, you're going to take your outside rein and just open it away from his neck 2 or 3 inches and think about creating a nice steady contact that your horse can move his shoulders toward. Okay, so I've given you those tips now, Shannon. So again, watch your posting, think about settling into the saddle, sitting up a bit taller, carrying your hands up. I haven't mentioned that yet, but if you watch your hands pull down toward your knees as you post, I want you to think about pushing your hands more toward his ears. Just to make sure you're not pulling down with an indirect contact and bracing. Also work on your right bend and spend a lot of time before you even start asking your horse to do a lot. Maybe you do it at the walk when you first get on. Spend a lot of time doing some leg yields, some spiral in, some spiral out, rewarding your horse and really making it a fun exercise to accept your leg without getting crabby about it. Now finally, that said, I want you to, I know it may cost a bit, but I want you to invest a little money in having a saddle fitter make sure that your saddle is appropriate for your horse. And if it is, and you do your leg yield exercises and your horse still stays cranky off of your leg, does all of this tail swishing and ears pinned back, you might want to get a chiropractor or a massage therapist or a vet to check them out and just rule out that it's not a soreness or an injury that's causing the problem. If you rule those two things out, the saddle and then a sore back, then you know that, okay, there's something that you can do to fix this. You're going to work on getting your horse to relax and accept your leg a little bit more, and it's not causing him pain to do so. So always do, make sure that that's not the underlying issue. All that said, really cute horse. You're doing a great job, and I hope to see you back here at My 5 Minute Coach. Thanks.